So the next thing to make are the legs. So we're going to make 4 legs, unless you want your sheep to have otherwise. And I'm going to start by using something like, well, this is a kebab stick, that's all, something like a kebab stick. You could use some other type of skewer, or you could even wrap around pipe cleaner if you wanted your legs to be posable, or anything else thin that you can think of. I've got approximately 1 gram of wool per leg, and I'm just pulling this core wool just so that I'm elongating it to get ready. And wrapping round something fine is quite a hard technique to master. I'm going to try my best to show you. So if you lay the wool on your hand and put your stick over the top of it, and then just wrap the top of it over and hold it with your thumb, and then you can start then to turn the wool around the stick like that. So I'm turning the stick, but notice how I'm keeping the wool very, very close, not holding it down here, it'll just make it baggy. Holding it very close, and I'm just coming to a point. If I feel that this is getting too much, I'm just going to pull it to thin it out a little. Once I've got to an end point there, don't worry about going right over the edge, just roll it and start to turn it back down. Again, it's a little bit much, so I'm going to give it a pull just to thin that out. Thin layers are much easier to control than thick layers. So again, it's thickening up there, so I'm giving it a pull. And the approximate length that you want is, the full length of this one is about 9 centimeters, but this is also including the soft area as well. Don't make your leg on the stick 9 centimeters because it will elongate. I'd probably say about 5 centimeters is enough. So I'm just going to keep going. That should be approximately 5 centimeters. Yes, it is. What a good guess. So once I've got to the length that I want, it's about creating the thickness that I want the leg to be. So I'm just going to keep going down here, pulling so it keeps it nice and thin. I'm kind of thinking maybe a bit more. Yeah, that's probably about the thickness that I'm going to go for. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got that thickness all the way down, like that. And there we go. If you roll that in between your finger and thumb, it will start the felting process. Now I've actually just decided that that's a bit thin compared to that one, wouldn't you agree? So as long as you are winding it in the same direction, you can quite easily add the wool onto it to make it thicker. Like that, that's better. That's a chunkier leg. And again, I'm just going to roll that. And then this time, I'm going to grab the whole thing in my hand, and I'm just going to gently pull the stick out. And what we should have is a leg shape with a very thinner air hole in it. So I'm just going to hold this either side, and I'm going to stab right through. It's already quite tight, is this? Yours might not be as tight. just want to get it nice and firm, probably again right middle finger firm. Once I know that's not going to move, then again be mindful of your fingers. We're just going to squash that so that it's nice and flat, because this is going to be the hoof. Just don't make that too tight and too firm, because well, you'll see why later. So I'm now going to just work. Notice how I'm holding this bit, which is this bit. So this is what I'm going to use to attach it onto the body. And I've noticed here that that's a little bit thinner. So I'm just going to wrap just around that area, just with a little bit more wool, just to make it more even. Once you've done that, next thing you're going to do is just give it a roll in your hand. You'll see that that elongates it and it just evens it out a bit as well. So you do need to have 4 of these. So there's my 4, but you'll notice that one of them has got a little bit of black on the end, just to make the hoof area. Now you don't need to use black, you don't need to add these at all. You could use grey. All we do is just take a very small amount of whatever colour you choose and just anchor it on just at the bottom edge there. Give it a little wrap like that, not much, over there, and then just so that you're getting that nice and even, just pull them fibres so you're getting it nice and straight. Again, I'm not going deeper this time, because I'm just attaching one colour to another. Now with this one, the colour has actually gone over the edge, so I'm just going to use that just to cover the end up. If yours hasn't, which to be fair, a couple of these, well, that one didn't, then just take a little bit more of the wool that you're using, just squidge it up a little bit, and then just pop it on the top, and that will cover it as well. So there's no right or wrong way. There's just making sure that the end result is looking good. So I'm going to carry on and make these two look like that before we attach them onto the body. So far we've got the head, which is now attached to the body. We've now got the 4 legs, which have each got the hooves, and the last thing we need to make before we attach everything together are the ears. So the ears, best way for me to show you how much you'll need, because it really won't weigh at all, is just about over the width of my thumb. So there are a couple of different ways that I want to show you how you can make ears. The first way is to take your section area, the amount of fluff that you've got basically, and you're just going to fold each of the edges in until you're getting a bit of an ear shape, but you do need to leave one end there fluffy. Obviously you can't see what I'm holding, so I'm going to let go of that for you so that you can see there that just by folding those edges in that we have a bit of an ear shape, and I'm only stabbing gently here just to get just to get the fluff to hold together. And you can see there that I've managed to make a bit of a shape, and we've got the fluff to hold it on with. I could stab that now either side. I could even start to elongate it. Once your wool's actually firm, it's amazing how much you can actually change the shape on it. But you find the more you stab something, and the firmer it becomes, the more neater it looks, the more finished off it looks, like that. And then you can go between your finger and thumb. Some people like to use a piece of cardboard or something here, but I just find you have to alter it every time you turn it, so I'm just mindful not to hurt my fingers, that's all. And give it a bit of a pull like that, and you've got yourself a little ear. The other way that you can do it to make sure that you're determining the shape that you want is to stab the actual shape that you want. Stab that deep into your form, like that. That's the area that is going to be the shape of the ear. And by pulling this side down, you can see that we've actually created a nice neat edge. So this again is just a nice gentle stab. And then this side is going to come up here, so you can see again that we've actually drawn to begin with the shape that we're actually producing. And you've already got the elongated shape there. This is very gentle stabbing. I'm not going in very deep at all, otherwise the whole thing will stick to my mat. Just making sure it's going to hold together. And with the fluffy bit, I'm going to pull it off, and you'll see that I've just got the fluffy edge there, which is where I stabbed it in at first. So I'm just going to hold my needle sideways on, just so that I'm not creating more fluff on the other side. I'm just going to get rid of the fluff on this side. You can see then when I turn over there isn't any fluff. All I'm doing now is just making it firmer, and then I'm going to hold between my finger and my thumb. I'm not taking my needle out. I'm just going in between. Even went quiet then with the concentration. Like that. Just another little stab. And you've got your two different methods of creating ears. I'm going to go with this one because it's a little bit longer. So when I do that, if I want to get it exactly the same shape, again, roughly the same amount of wool, I'm going to pop that on there, and I'm going to stab right round, just so that I've got that same shape so I can replicate it. So here's just a little reminder to show you that you can check your shapes of what you've made up against the templates, that if you've bought a kit, this will be in with your kit. If you haven't, there will be a screenshot of this for you to use while you are working. Here are the ears. So now we have the head, the body, the legs and the ears, and we're going to attach them all together. So here is Ethel, one of the knitted sheep that I've already done, and I just wanted to show you where her ears are. They are very much on the side of her head. A lot of sheep do have them on the side of the head. There are a couple of breeds that do have them up if you wanted to put them up, but we're going to put them on the side for this sheep. All I've done is I've taken the bit of fluff that we had and I've fluffed it out so it goes all the way around, and I've done that on both of the ears. And then I've got him facing me, her, I don't know yet, and I'm just going to place them just on the side, making sure that they're on the head and not the body. You don't want them over here. You want them just probably, that's a good marker, where the actual body and the head join. Like that would be a good idea. So I'm just going to stab around the edge, just tacking them on, so that then I can put this one on, decide which way you want them, make sure they're level from above. Make sure we're happy with how they are. All right from there, they're okay from there. Once we've done that, then we can start stabbing them on. When I put them on, I tend to do both at the same time, just so that I'm going about the same depth. Once they're attached on, that's when you can decide whether you want them longer or shorter. I want these a little bit shorter, so I'm actually going right on the inside of the ear, and I'm just going to do that with the one, just so that you can see the difference there. Can you see the difference in that? You might not be able to tell too much from the camera, but I can tell that this one is quite a bit longer. So I'm just going to turn this one and do the same. And it also gives you a little bit of an ear hole in there as well. There we go. I'm quite happy with those. Now when we come to do the legs, when we place the legs, it is important that firstly have a feel along the ends of each leg, and if you've got two that are a little bit softer, then choose those to be the top. Okay, so I'm just going to put them to one side, all will become clear. So these are going to be the bottom legs, so they're going to sit here and here. So when I say bottom, they need to sit so that they're actually sat on the base. Yeah, so if that's the bottom, they're going to sit right next to it, not underneath, just next to it to give a bit of stability. The thing that is important is you have to remember that you are covering all this area in wool. So if you start off with the legs, if you start off with them, say roughly the length that you think they should be, by the time you've covered them in wool, the wool comes out to about here, you're not going to have very much of the leg sticking out. So when you attach them and you're thinking of the length, just give it a little bit longer. I usually go to about the length of the nose. You can see on this one that's roughly the length of the nose. So if you attach about here like that, make sure it's level on that bottom to the length you want. Give it a good stab just to attach it on, and the rest of this will wrap round just to create a little bit of a fatter body. So I'm going to do the same at the other side there, and then when I've done that, I'm going to take these two, I'm going to make sure that they come out at the same length, and we're just going to give a little bit of neck space, and we're going to attach them in the same way, making sure you're going nice and deep so that they're not going to fall off. And then the rest of it just attaches around the body. If you do find when you get to this point, doesn't matter too much about the bottom bit because it can give the sheep a bigger bottom, but if you find you've got too much wool on there, please don't be afraid to just grab it and give it a pull off to get rid of some, because you will be able to do that. Okay, so there we go. I've got it nice and flat at the bottom here so that it does actually sit down. I keep saying he, could be a he or a she. And I have attached the front legs and the back legs on, and you can see that they do look rather long. I've also going to show you how it's wrapped around the back so that you can see that that one's up, that one's down. It's just the way it fell, but there's not too much wool there that it's causing like a big lump here. And again, I've done the same at the bottom, and it just makes it a bit more sturdy when it is sat down. So the next thing I want to show you is, now we've got the ears on, I want to just show you how to just make this little area here and here a little bit shallower. So we're going from the ear down to the nose, just this area, only gentle, but we're just taking it so that it's just blending it just down to the nose, and it's flattening this area here, and it's flattening this area here. That way the head ends up a little bit more like a triangle. Remember, we made it flatter on the bottom, so it's creating a little bit more of a triangle for where the eyes will go.